Have you ever met someone who constantly interrupts others, turning every conversation into a monologue? Perhaps you know a person who, no matter the topic, seems to have an unshakable need to prove they're right, correcting even the smallest details. Or maybe you've been in a meeting where one colleague dominates the discussion, not to collaborate, but to ensure their voice is the loudest and their ideas are the only ones heard. At first glance, these behaviors can easily be mistaken for strength, for an assertive personality, or even for unshakable confidence, but often it's the opposite. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It's a calm inner knowledge that you are capable and worthy, which allows you to listen to others, admit when you're wrong, and celebrate other people's successes without feeling threatened. Insecurity, on the other hand, is loud. It's a deep-seated fear of not being good enough, smart enough, or important enough. This fear creates a void that people desperately try to fill with external validation. Insecurity doesn't always look like self-doubt or shyness. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, disguised as arrogance. It manifests in loud voices that drown out others, constant criticism that belittles, a relentless perfectionism that fears any mistake, or a need to always be the center of attention. Today, we're breaking down 5 subtle yet powerful behaviors that often reveal a hidden insecurity. As we explore them, you might recognize some of these patterns in people around you, your colleagues, your friends, or even in yourself. The goal here isn't about judging or labeling anyone. It's about developing a deeper understanding of human behavior and the complex emotions that drive it. Because once you can see past the surface-level actions and understand the why behind them, you begin to see people and yourself in a completely different, more compassionate light. It empowers you to navigate your relationships with greater empathy and wisdom. People who frequently interrupt conversations often appear dominant, but psychologically, interruption can signal anxiety about being unheard. When someone feels insecure, their brain goes into subtle threat mode. They fear their opinion won't matter, so they jump in, they cut people off, they rush to speak. It's not always ego, it's fear. Fear of being invisible, fear of being irrelevant. Secure individuals, on the other hand, feel safe waiting their turn. They trust they will be heard. Have you noticed someone who gives long explanations for simple decisions? Or perhaps you found yourself doing it? A simple no feels incomplete, so you follow it with a detailed monologue, hoping to soften the blow or manage the other person's perception. This is over-explaining, a classic sign of insecurity. It's the difference between a confident, "I can't make it tonight," and an anxious torrent of justification. "I can't come because I had a really long day and my phone died and I still have so much work to do and I promised I'd call my mum." The core message gets lost in a sea of unnecessary detail. In the workplace, this might manifest when someone is asked for a project update. Instead of a direct answer, they provide a winding narrative of every minor obstacle they encountered, implicitly seeking reassurance that they're working hard enough. At its heart, over-explaining reveals a deep-seated fear of judgment. The insecure mind operates from a deficit of trust, not just in others, but in oneself. It assumes others are constantly scrutinizing and criticizing them, even when that's far from the truth. This creates a constant need to manage perceptions. They build a defensive wall of words before anyone has even thought of attacking. This habit stems from low internal validation. When you don't trust your own decisions and worth, you endlessly seek that validation externally, trying to convince others, and by extension yourself, that your actions are acceptable. The antidote is to practice concise communication. Try this. State your decision or answer once, clearly and respectfully, and then stop. Resist the urge to fill the silence. Let your words stand on their own. True confidence doesn't need to over-justify, it simply states, trusting that its position is valid without a lengthy defense. This one is powerful. Insecurity often disguises itself as sarcasm or subtle criticism. Comments like, "Oh, you got promoted, must be nice," or "I could do that too if I had that much free time." These aren't random remarks. They're defense mechanisms. When someone else succeeds, it triggers comparison, and comparison threatens insecure identities. So instead of celebrating others, they minimize them. Secure people don't feel attacked by someone else's success. Insecure people do. "Do you think I did okay? Are you mad at me? Was that weird?" Everyone needs reassurance sometimes. But constant validation seeking often reveals unstable self-worth. Psychologically, this is tied to external validation dependency. When your self-image depends on others' approval, you constantly scan for signs of rejection. This creates emotional exhaustion. For both sides, true confidence is internal. It doesn't need constant confirmation. This is one of the clearest signs of deep-seated insecurity. Have you ever offered a tiny, well-intentioned piece of feedback only to be met with a disproportionately strong emotional reaction? Perhaps you suggested a minor change in a document and the person either became intensely defensive or completely withdrew. If someone reacts this way to small, constructive feedback, it's almost never about the feedback itself. The comment is merely a trigger for a much deeper issue. It's about identity. Insecure individuals often fuse their sense of self-worth directly to their performance. Their internal logic dictates, if I do well, I am good. If I make a mistake, I am bad. There is no separation. So even the most minor critique isn't heard as a comment on their work. It's perceived as a fundamental judgment of their character, a personal attack on their value as a human being. This perceived threat hijacks their brain. Their nervous system reacts before logic can intervene, triggering a primal fight, flight, or freeze response. That's why they often get angry and defensive, which is the fight response. Shift blame onto others or external factors, a form of flight, or shut down emotionally, which is the freeze response. If this feels familiar, try implementing the 3-second rule. When you receive feedback, pause. Take one deep breath before you speak. This tiny gap can be enough to let your logical brain catch up with your emotional reaction. Secure individuals practice this separation of behavior from identity. They understand that their actions are not the sum total of who they are. They can say, I made a mistake, without the silent, crushing addition of like you, therefore I am a mistake. This distinction is the foundation of true resilience and confidence. Here's the deeper truth. Insecurity is not weakness, it's protection. The brain evolved to protect social belonging. Rejection used to mean danger. So insecurity is often the mind trying to stay safe. But when it goes unchecked, it damages relationships. Awareness changes everything. When you recognize insecure patterns, you respond with clarity instead of frustration. The next time someone interrupts, over-explains, criticizes, or reacts defensively, pause. Ask yourself, is this confidence or is this fear in disguise? And more importantly, are there moments when you do the same? Self-awareness is uncomfortable, but it's powerful, because the more you understand psychology, the more you understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you grow beyond insecurity.